Hey everyone at YouTube, this is Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming coming at you today with an EDH variant. Today's variant that we're going to be talking about is the game type Usurper. Now Usurper is a pretty cool game type where each individual player takes on a role that has specific goals and win conditions. It just brings a little more flavor to the game rather than just playing the game, because sometimes after playing the game a couple 100,000,000 times it can get a little stale. So the name of this game is Usurper. It's also sometimes called King or Sheriff or Bang or Outlaw or Townsfolk or a million other different names, but they all more or less function the same way. You have a king or your leader, and you have these other roles: bodyguards, assassins, and usurpers. And the way it starts out is one player is the king, the other player are these three roles: the bodyguard, the usurper, and the assassin, but their roles are kept a secret. So no one knows who they are, but everybody knows who the king is. Now throughout the course of the game, since the bodyguard has to protect the king, and the assassins are trying to kill the king, and the usurper is trying to kill the king and survive, people will figure out who is who, and that's okay. But your role is still kept as a secret. So pretty much I'm just going to go over how the game plays out in each of the roles. So we're going to move these off to the side and talk about the king first. So the king, he wins when all the assassins and all the usurpers are dead. He just has to survive. And it doesn't matter if his bodyguard is alive or not. His job is to survive at all costs because he's a king. He can always get a new bodyguard. He always goes first, and he always draws a card on his first turn. He starts the game with 50 life instead of 40 because he is the king. Gets that little buff for being the controller of the land. And his role must always be known to everyone. So his role is always face up on the table. And because he is the king, he's the important guy. He's the target or the one that needs to be saved. Then we have the King's Bodyguard. Now with the bodyguard, he wins the game when the assassins and usurpers are dead and the king is alive. So he just has to protect the king and kill the other players. So he knows who the king is, which means he also knows who his targets are. His target is everyone who is not the king. But what's cool about this also is if you have a big enough game, you need to add extra assassins and extra bodyguards. So you may have 2 or 3 bodyguards if the game is big enough, but the bodyguards don't know who each other are. So you could have 2 bodyguards duking it out, and they just won't know. And then your role must be kept a secret, is his secondary rule. His third rule is whenever a player kills the bodyguard may destroy one of their creatures. And that is because if it's his last dying breath, he can take a creature out for the enemy. And the reason we have it as a you may is because if the king kills him, he shouldn't take out one of the king's creatures. It's still his duty to help the king as much as possible. So he can take out one of the opposing player's creatures, and it'll be a last-ditch effort to say, hey, I was your bodyguard. So if an assassin kills him, he can kill an assassin's creature. If a usurper kills him, he can kill a usurper or assassin's creature. Even if the king kills him, he can still kill a creature of the enemies, because he knows who the enemies are, more or less. And his role must be kept a secret until he's killed, then it's revealed, and hey, I was the bodyguard, and now I'm dead. Then we have the assassin. So the assassin wins the game when the king is dead and the bodyguards are dead. Basically, he needs to kill everybody. He needs to be the last man standing in order to do his job. And that's more or less what it is to it. That's just how he wins, take everybody out. His role must be kept a secret. And whenever a player kills the assassin, they may draw 3 cards. The idea behind that is, if you kill the assassin, you investigate their body, and you get some information from them and more about who they were trying to kill. Because you now know they're an assassin, so you can draw 3 cards, get a little extra help, because you did take out one of the bad guys. So it's great if you're the bodyguard, it's great if you're the usurper, it's great if you're the king, it's great if you're really anybody to get those extra cards. And then when you're killed, reveal your role, as with the other players. And then we have what makes this game unique, and that is the Usurper Role. Now the Usurper Role is, he wins the game when all other players are dead. The assassins, the king, the bodyguards, everybody needs to be dead. He needs to be the last man standing. It makes the Usurper the hardest role to win with. If you're the Usurper, you have a long road ahead of you to win the game. He has a secondary role of if you kill the king, you become the king. And now that is really, really cool, because he is usurping the throne. So if you kill the bodyguard, he's dead. If you kill an assassin, he's dead. If you kill the king, you now become the king. And then the bodyguards are now automatically allied with you, and the assassins are now trying to kill you as well, even though they sort of were before, but passively. And then your role must be kept secret, and when you die, reveal your role. It's a really, really cool game. It brings a lot to it. You know, you have a lot of politics in it, because the king is just trying to survive. The bodyguard is trying to make the king survive, but the king doesn't know who the bodyguard is. The assassin's trying to take out everybody, and the usurper is trying to take out everybody and the king. You know, he needs to survive long enough to get into like a one-on-one with the king, or kill the king early enough that the bodyguard becomes his ally, and you know, that's more or less how it works out. One thing about the usurper, though, also is if he becomes the king, he doesn't need to kill the bodyguard now. The bodyguard is automatically allied with him, so he no longer needs to kill the king. So what he can do is he can go straight for the king to gain that bodyguard, or he can go through the assassin, through the bodyguard to get to the king. However he chooses to do it, playing most politically and you know, sneakily as he can, because he is trying to go up the ranks and take everyone out. But that's more or less how Usurper works out. If you'd be interested in seeing a gameplay of Usurper, let us know. We can hopefully make that work out, if it's something everybody's interested in seeing. But it's a pretty cool variant. It's not something we created. I did create these little cards. If you guys ever see the MTG channel Clonehead, this is actually his little Usurper logo. So a throw out to Clonehead. Not trying to steal your image, giving you the throw out because it's really cool looking, and it really helped us make these little cards. These are just like little paper printouts, just so that we can give each player a role. It's nice to have the players have the role instead of being like, oh, you're the bodyguard and this is what you can do. This way, you know, when they have it down, they can peek at it and reference it and just reiterate the rules to themselves. But this is Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. This is the variant Usurper. Hope you enjoyed this little rundown. If you liked it, didn't like it, leave a comment. Hopefully you will like, comment, and subscribe. We really would love subscribers. We're getting close to 1,000. It's a really big deal to us. You know, we broke the 800 mark, and now we're looking for 1,000. So help us out. Help us out. Subscribe this, share this. Let us know what you think. But this is Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. Thank you a lot, and goodbye.